Hey friends, Allysia here. Welcome to today's episode of Daily Musings. I've been reading a book by Kristen Neff called Self-Compassion. And this is a book that I've been resisting reading, even though it's been sitting on my whatever table with like my other books stacked up way too high for like 6 months, because I have been reading library books and I justify that thinking, oh, well, I have to return these soon, so I have to read these ones. And I just kind of tend to resist books that I know will be good for me but seem fluffy. I'm like, oh, self-compassion, lame. Like, I'd rather read about artificial intelligence taking over the world or something that's much more exciting to me. But now that I've been reading this book finally, because I, like many of us, struggle with basically I'm trying to think of like a minor way to say it, because self-loathing sounds very dramatic, but we all have this habit. Not all of us. Some of us are probably healthier, have healthier relationships with ourselves, and I guess that's the point. But the basically like intense self-criticism, like being really hard on myself, and all those things. So I'm like, okay, I gotta read this book. I gotta start doing the exercises. And I came across an exercise that I found was really helpful for me, because I'm an overachiever type personality. I don't know if you would have ever guessed that, but I have this this perfectionism streak where I want to be really good at everything that I do. And either I'm really good at things or I'm like really bad at things, but I have a hard time acknowledging my averageness. So this exercise, so you think you're above average, is basically designed to give you a more accurate perception on yourself, what your strengths and weaknesses are, but more importantly, what you're just like regular at. Because here's the thing, we have this you can dig into the research. It's actually pretty interesting, but we have this habit of thinking that we're above average. Like, most people think they're above average in driving. Like something like 90% of college professors think that they're a better teacher than their peers. Like, most people think they're better drivers than other people. None of this would make sense statistically. For us Westerners, it tends to be a lot of achievement-oriented things. Like, we tend to think we're more attractive. We tend to think we're more intelligent. And obviously, 80% of people can't be more intelligent than the rest of people. So some of us are just kidding ourselves. But it's a thing that is true in Asian countries as well. So just different standards of things to brag about, basically. But people in Asian countries might tend to think they're more modest or self-sacrificing than others. So we all have this habit of thinking that we are above average, better than others. And there's a couple of reasons for this. So one reason is that we like to distort reality to make ourselves feel better about ourselves. So we like to see ourselves as better because we have a fragile self-confidence. And if we don't have this like illusion of how awesome we are, and it just shatters, then all of a sudden, if we're faced with reality, we feel like that will be far too painful. And we have this inner like hardcore self-critic who, as soon as we realize our shortcomings or we do something we mess up, we're like, ah, idiot, you're the worst. And we start like really getting down on ourselves. And that's very painful for us. So we'd like to buffer ourselves from that pain by basically like putting up this image of, okay, we're better than other people. And this also translates into that kind of comparison. So thinking that you're better than other people, or noticing the differences between you and others. So if you see someone who is, maybe you see someone who's overweight and you're like, at least I'm not overweight. You see someone who's bald and you're like, that person's bald, or whatever. If we make ourselves feel better by criticizing maybe the way other people look, or if someone says something stupid, you're like, that person's kind of dumb, they said something stupid. We're existing in this bubble of negativity that is only going to serve to isolate us from everyone around us, which will cause us pain. In order to feel more connected to other humans and healthier as a result, then we don't want to criticize ourselves or others. We want to be kind to ourselves or others. And that means having an accurate self-assessment of your strengths and weaknesses, and most importantly, again, what you're just plain old average at. So what the exercise is to list 5 things that you're above average at, list 5 things that you're just average at, and list 5 things that you're below average at. So I will share with you what I wrote, and hopefully this will be like a launching off point for you to do the same. It's a simple exercise, but I found, it was pretty powerful. And it also absolves you of the responsibility to be amazing at everything. You can be above average or below average or average at things. Everyone is. And it's something that as I was doing this exercise, it kind of like made me relax a little bit more. Like, I don't have to be the best at everything. That's fine. And more importantly, it made me feel more connected to other people because I was thinking about other people's strengths and weaknesses as well. Like when I was going through this, my daughter was annoying me. She's like being obstinate, and I was thinking, oh, my daughter is below average at her ability to listen, to follow instructions. And just that little framing was like, okay, yeah, like she has her strengths. She's above average at other things. She's very good at communication. Below average at other things. Average. So it just made me. It allowed me to see people in a different way as well, with more acceptance, which ultimately connects us to each other and makes us happier. So here's what I'm above average at. And this is going to be a little, like, it's hard not to say these things without sounding like I'm bragging, but I think I'm being like reasonable in this. So communication and speaking. I mean, the very fact that I'm doing these videos and that I have a like piano YouTube channel is kind of a testament to that. Teaching, I'm a piano teacher. I've been practicing teaching, so there's a good chance I'm above average at that. Singing, again, something I've done a long time. Writing, same goes for that. And cooking, because I've actually gone to culinary school and I've developed those skills. So above average, all those things. The things that I am just average at, I would say humor. I think like I'm not super funny, but I'm not funny. Though like probably somewhere in the middle there. Kindness. I know that there's a lot of people who are more giving and generous than I am, but I'm definitely not like the worst. Just like nicely in the middle there. My cooperation skills are pretty average. I can cooperate if needed, but I am an only child and I tend to work on my own. So I can be a little bit of a difficult person, at least historically. I have been a difficult person to work with sometimes, but most of the time it's fine. My fitness is average, so I probably would get pretty winded if I tried to run around the block a couple times. I'm not overweight or underweight. I'm just like, I'm not super strong, but I'm not really weak. I'm kind of right in the middle there. And finally, maintaining friendships. I think I'm pretty average with that. I wish I was better at that. But I'm not the worst. So here are the things that I'm below average at. We're going to start with driving. Driving is a difficult one to admit. I think most people, like, I think it was something like 80% of people, 90% of drivers, even people who were recently in an accident, think they're better than other drivers. So I feel like I'm a better driver than a lot of people, but I know that based on evidence, that's probably not true. So it's hard. I just gotta like be real. So it took me 4 tries to get my license in the first place. That's a good sign, even though I could come up with reasons that I failed the first 3 times, all kinds of things that were beyond my control. Whatever, I still failed 3 times. So that's one. I have been in an accident, and I have backed into things twice, not just once, but twice. And I could justify that as, okay, that was a really tight squeeze in a parking lot in Toronto. Like, what was I supposed to do? There was no way I couldn't, hit things on the side. Or when I backed into that garbage can, like the metal one, I could have said, okay, it was blizzarding out. I couldn't see anything behind me. Sure, there's excuses, but my track record shows that I'm probably below average at driving. I know people who have never been in any kind of accident. They've been driving way longer than me. So next, improvisation. I was in the improv team in high school. I was in the B improv team in high school. B for bad, B for like B-side. Very bad at improv. I wish I was better at that because improv is so much fun. Very bad at fixing things and building things. So if something breaks or if I have to like figure out how to assemble something, I just turn into this brain dead version of myself. Not good at that at all. Not very good at saving money. It's not that I probably could be better at saving money, but I've just never really done it. So I'm below average at that. Because there's always things that need paying for. There's like, maybe it was like debt to resolve or some school to go to, or there's always something that I spend money on instead of save. And then finally, gift giving. I am not a very good gift giver. I have a lot of anxiety about giving gifts because I don't have a good track record with it. I do my best. And that's it. And just seeing that list in front of me, I'm like, okay, I'm like a balanced human being and I don't need to be a superhuman. And other people are going to have lists like this too, with totally different strengths and weaknesses. We're all human. I don't want to be unkind to myself or other people. And that's what I got from this exercise. So I hope you enjoy it, and I'll catch you in the next one.